Hey guys, this is William. I'm here with Marco from Heavy Hitters Club, RYS Reloaded, Semantic Mastery, and we're going to be talking pretty much anything and everything, but specifically RYS Reloaded and a couple of other questions. If y'all have any, just make sure to give StreamYard permission to post on your Facebook. So you can post comments and live stream your comments as well. So me and Marco can get those and answer those for you. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them. And we're just going to go and get started. Hey, Marco, how you doing?
What's up, Bill?
Not much.
I'm good. I'm living the life. It looks like I got a fake background too, but in actuality, it's
real.
This is real. This is where I live, and you'll see this light, and it's 365. I don't even have my lights on. It's like this every day in my office. I got all this light coming in.
Yeah, I remember I seen you on the beach, some of the pictures you on the beach with Semantic Mastery, and I was like, I guess they're doing like a mastermind or something, but you actually live in Costa Rica, brother, huh?
That's where I live. The ones that you saw we actually had our company meeting. You know how you have to, when you have a corporation, you have to meet once a year. We decided to go to Panama on Semantic Mastery, Bill. Why not?
Yeah. It's like, I'll ask you the question people ask me since I live in the Philippines. Why would you want to live on an island?
Everything is an island. If you really think about it. But Costa Rica isn't an island, right? We're in Central America. We got Nicaragua to the north, Panama to the south. But we do have the Caribbean on one coast. We have the Pacific on the other. And this is the land of eternal spring. Like you live in the Philippines and you have to deal with heat.
Yeah.
Oppressive, humid heat.
Yeah.
Here, like the hottest it's ever been where I live, in the particular area of Costa Rica where I live, is 87 or 88. Never been 90. Mm-hmm. We'd probably roast to death.
We in the Philippines, I tell people, they say, what's the weather like? I said, well, when I lived in Jacksonville, Florida, in Northeast Florida, the weather is basically dry humid, or not dry humid, but wet humid. So you can walk out. You can walk out, and you're instantly soaking wet.
Yep.
And you have dry as can be, then afternoon shower, thunderstorms. As in the Philippines, same thing. The only difference is it's a dry humid, so you're not going to sweat. You're just going to be hot.
Right.
And it's like right now, because we got typhoons and I run out of electric, or power goes out, internet goes out sometimes, and I told my wife yesterday, I told her, I said, I thought that we had two seasons here, which is supposed to be summer, which means no rain, and rainy season. I said, all we got this year so far is nothing but rainy season. We haven't had no damn dry season. It's just been rain. It's not like right now it's supposed to not be raining, but it's almost raining. When I say raining, I mean like deluging, pouring down like you're in a hurricane. In the middle of the afternoon. So let's see. You got Chris Goldsmith. He's a moderator over at Chase Rayner Heavy Hitters Club in the house. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? So I have a lot of people, and I think why it came up is because Rob Beal, I had him on because I do schema, and then I would have people say, schema doesn't work. And I would do my schema. Yeah.
SEO doesn't work. If you listen to people, SEO doesn't work. It's dead. Just hope that Google will somehow come to your website and figure out what the fuck you're doing. And and how quickly before you go broke? You better have a lot of money in store while Google is deciding what to do with you. And it could be that they decide you're not worthy. Imagine that. So you spend a year, 2 years writing content, hoping that Google will come and like what you're doing, give you love, start ranking. I mean, and I think we're in Facebook, so sorry for the F-bomb.
No, I do it all the time.
Dude, so. I'm raw. I'm as raw as they come, unfiltered.
I love it.
I'll say whatever's in my head, whatever's on my mind, without thinking about what I'm saying. So if it goes
No,
there,
that's cool.
like I said, tell the women to leave the room, tell the children to cover their eyes because Mark goes on.
Yep, same way. So whenever I do my classes, but yeah, schema doesn't work, right? Schema probably is not going to make that big of a schema's not going to make that big of a deal. And I started doing advanced schema. And they would see my schema, and then they would see, okay, for example, never had any rankings, and then all of a sudden, and they're like, so take a guess when the schema was applied.
Yeah.
And then the other one, and when I was talking to Rob, it was like I get, RYS or drive stacks, G stacks, and entity stacks, old school, don't work. It's a waste of time. And I tell them, say, well, it might be a waste of time the way you're doing it. It's a waste of time if you're buying them on Fiverr, but it's not a waste of time if you do them correctly. So can you tell me a little bit about RYS Reloaded and that whole program and just get into that a little bit?
Yeah. Here's the thing. As we've moved on to or into the semantic web of things, and as we've gone further along, we've refined the process and we've added to the process. So if you're just doing a drive stack in Google and nothing else, if you're just putting some files and folders in there and you're doing nothing else, then that's all you're going to get, nothing else.
Yeah.
Because there has to be a purpose to whatever it is that you're doing. Why are you even bothering with creating a drive stack if what's the intent behind that drive stack? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And then once you do that, what else are you doing to power up the drive stack and to deliver that power? Because it does create exponential power if you do it correctly. So what are you doing to deliver that power to the destination? And are you throttling the power at any step in the process? These are all things that come into play when we're looking at it, because we look at it constantly on how we can create more power, how we can create better relationships. So what we've done is we've refined the process. RYS Academy is now part of an overall strategy that we have where we go after the brand through the entity.
Yeah.
So we're always branding, and what I tell people. So imagine yourself at the halftime in the Super Bowl. You're sitting there, and you've spent millions of dollars for that 30-second spot. It comes up on the screen. Do you really want plumber in whatever city, emergency plumber to come up? What the hell is that? If you really think about it, the ones that have been successful are brands. Amazon. I tell people Amazon was a river before it became a bookstore, before it became like the biggest convenience store, the biggest supermarket, the biggest online whatever in the history. And people are just starting to attempt to compete with Amazon. But think about it. How did they get there? Think about, before that, everyone that became the name, right? Their brand became the Band-Aids, Jello. We could go on and on and on. Zippers at one time was a trademark name, a zipper. And it just became common part of our language. We Google things now. So it became a verb. Think about the branding. Think about the marketing that went into this to create this experience for the person so that you become the actual thing. You're inseparable from the niche. And that's what we're trying to do now, because we're in the semantic web, and we realize that without creating the correct relationships between your entity and everything that belongs to your entity, you're never going to get the results that you could get. Now you could have success, EMDs, PMDs, and everything that's connected to those. It's too much work for me, but those still work. But as we go further into the semantic web, as AI continues to come in and understand the relationships between your brand, the niche, and how you fully flesh out the entity, that's where we're going to win. So ours is not only a now play, ours is a long-term play. Think about it. RYS Academy, we started working on it in 2014.
Nice.
And here we are, 2021, and you can call it old school, you can call it anything you want. But if you say it doesn't work, it's because you're not in the original RYS Academy training, and you're not in RYS Academy Reloaded, and you're not applying the methods the way that I built the methods, the way that I built them with Dr. Gary Kerwin, who I told you was the original person who worked with me in RYS Academy, or Rob Beal, who came in for RYS Academy Reloaded to give it more, as I said, more power.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is I keep saying it, power. How do you deliver power wherever you want so that you get the results that you're looking to get? And what are we even talking about when we're talking about power? What are we talking about when we're talking about Google?
Yeah.
Do we know what we're talking about? People can say whatever they want, and they'll tell you. I see a guy, not going to mention any names, I don't like dropping names, but I see a guy in one of the groups, in one of the big groups, the big SEO groups, and he's always licking Google's butt and saying nobody is as smart as the people that work for Google. Nobody does the algorithms like we don't have access to the algorithm. We don't. And he's always harping how Google is just everything and how you just can't hope to compete against that. And I'm like, oh, holy crap. Holy crap. When you blind yourself, when you put blinders on like that and you think that Google is everything, you just missed it all.
Yeah.
You missed it all. Missed everything, the whole point.
One of the things I think, and I've been noticing, because you have the SEO Shield, that's the other one too. One of the things I kind of noticed, and maybe ask you this, is I've always looked at, to me, is SEO is just branding, and you're creating, if you will, branding. So when someone thinks of, let's say, a plumber in Washington or a plumber in Orlando, they think of you instead of someone else.
Yes.
You know, per se. So what is SEO Shield per se?
Our SEO Shield is our concept of how we approach the semantic web. So we formed that in 3 pillars, which is our Syndication Academy, which people have said it's an old-time link wheel. By the way, it's a 2008 link wheel. And I was when I first saw the comment, I'm like, yeah, thank you, you get it. But he was actually trying to knock it. I'm like, you gotta be an idiot. You gotta be an idiot if you think that an old-fashioned 2008 link wheel is something bad. All right. So we take our Syndication Academy, we take RYS Academy Reloaded, the Drive Stack NG site, and we take the entity loop, or our add ID page, which is an iframe stack with schema underneath, so that we're delivering to Google what this organization is all about. And so we're claiming all of our same as. We're claiming all of our relationships. We're showing Google how everything that's part of this organization relates to other parts of the organization. Because, as you said, what we're doing is branding. But the way that we're branding is by associating everything that this entity is about. Correct. So not only are you giving it all of the properties that are part of this brand, that are part of this entity, you're giving it everything else that's part of it, right? Yeah. All of the social media profiles, all of the Web 2.0s. Syndication, since Syndication Academy is part of this, we claim it. Syndication Academy, by the way, is the way that we use our content to push it into Web 2.0 and other social media profiles. The way that we create this huge footprint for Google, for the graphic database. Because what we're talking about is exactly that. When we talk about Google and the place where we play, because that's all it is, it's a playground. If it's not a playground for you, then you're doing something wrong. For anybody listening, you're doing something wrong. It's a playground where you can manipulate to your heart's content. Why? Because you have a bot that's data hungry. In a graphic database, you have two nodes, two things, call them two things in that database. And what Google is trying to do is find out whether there's any relationship between these two nodes, these two things. That's all Google's doing. When we talk about Google, is that, oh, Google Almighty? Oh, this almighty God in Olympus looking down on us and controlling everything that we do. It's a database with servers all over the world that intercommunicate. And when you go and you do a search, all that's doing is it's taking your query and going into that graphic database and finding out who most closely approaches that query, the best answer for that query. And this is all done through math.
Yep.
We have to understand it. And in a database that's data hungry, the more data that you feed the database, the better off you're going to be in the end. So our end play, what we're working for, the end game, is to create the best entity in that niche so that we can rule the niche. Yeah. So we're not just have to compete. Dude, what's the sense of competing if you're not out to win? I don't get that. In this game, you could feel good. You pat yourself on the back. I came in third. There were only 3 competitors, but I came in third. Yeah. What the fuck did you do? You didn't do shit. Play to win. Yeah. Play to win. If you go to war, you're not looking, well, I only got wounded. It's just like you go into a fight, right? And you come out looking like Pumpkinhead. I like this jaw here. At least I didn't get knocked out. You got beat the fuck up, please. Go in to win. Go in to win.
Yeah. Let's see real quick. I got a couple of questions came through, but I mean, it's like I have people sometimes ask you, how do you figure out what to write about? I mean, Google tells you pretty much what people are looking for.
Exactly.
They go, for instance, if I create location pages and I put different information in there. I go, okay, for instance, Google, if I look up things to do in Orlando, Google goes, here you go. Here's all this information. You can place all this on your website. If I go plumbers near me, okay, and wherever I'm at, it also goes, people also searched for, and they give you the information. And people are like, what should I write about? I'm like, Google's telling you what to write about. What are you talking about? What should I write about?
The suggestions when you're starting your search, you see all the suggestions. On the bottom of the page, you see
more.
People also ask.
Yeah.
What more information do you need than Google telling you exactly what it is? And not only that, you have access, we all have access to the NLP that Google is using to look at the language that's being used and how Google looks at it. And then now you have all of this software all over the web, which is fantastic. I use Inlinks, Surfer, and Conversion in combination to produce content that's tuned for the bot and that converts the user.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning. How you use this in conjunction with the schema, as you said, the advanced schema that Rob is producing in his training. This is all part of everything. What you said, well, in the e-commerce, we can't do that because the content isn't in depth like anything else. You can still write schema that's updated. So you have schema that updates. You simply have to just write something that will update the schema whenever you update a product, whenever you change the price.
Yeah.
I went and coded a plugin that did it. And I'm telling you, for e-commerce, I call it dynamic schema generator. It's ridiculous what you could. I think Rob presented a case study for y'all. I can't remember if he did. We actually took a website from 8K to 100K. We couldn't touch the on-site at all because the website just simply sucked. Duplicate categories, which is nothing but you're just competing against yourself. Duplicate pages, but duplicate meaning that they compete. So imagine you're trying to rank for a keyword, but you have 5 pages that are competing for that keyword, and Google is doing A, B, C, D, whatever testing. So it's not that you're taking up five spaces in real estate. is that your pages are continuously competing and they convert differently. So Google is getting different signals and you can't ever get it right. So that's as a matter of fact, where I coded that plugin to produce a schema dynamically. And in a 6-month period, it went from 8K a month to over 100K. And it's still doing on a regular basis over 400K per quarter. So imagine how happy this dude is that on a case study, on a test, where we simply did schema. And of course, I did other things that I do off page. Yeah. I never touched the money site. And I know people will work differently. I never build links to the money site, ever. I let it happen naturally over time. Everything I do with that is off page. I want my money site looking pristine. I want that brand to be the best brand it can be, so that if I ever get a manual, someone's gonna come in and like, you're good to go. Yeah, you're okay. Now, if they ever happen to go look off page at all of the shit I'm doing, I'm in trouble. But until that time comes, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah. Yep. Let's look right quick. See this. Let's see, I got George here. George Graham. We can bend the matrix.
Yes, like we can.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon.
And then we got Dan here.
Yeah, that's my favorite saying. Fuck Google.
I think it was MG. Make Google my bitch.
MGYB. Make Google your bitch. You got that right.
Yep. And
that's how we do the do.
Yep. It's like schema. One of the things I tell people, because a lot of times they'll come to me and they just want the advanced schema. They haven't done syndication. They haven't done any on page. They haven't done any of the basic stuff. And I tell them, for me, the easiest way to explain is kind of what you're talking about is it's just two different nodes. But the way I tell them is like, think of it this way. If you're an ugly looking man or an ugly looking woman or whatever, and you go, let me take a spotlight and put it on you. I said, that's all you're going to do with schema. I said, you're taking a spotlight and saying everything you've been hearing is about this person. And I said, all these things, all these citations, all these articles, all this entity stuff that's going on, this is about this person. Now, if I suck at that and I go and do an advanced schema, your rankings will actually drop. And I said, now, if I've done everything right, your ranking should rise. So I try to get some of those things done prior to doing anything else. So, but
so what we take is an overall approach. What we take is we don't just focus on one thing. So schema in and of itself is not going to do anything if everything else isn't right.
Yeah,
you have to boost it. Yes, schema needs to get boosted. The bot has to go in there. The bot has to look at it. And then what's going to happen is it's going to go and look at the nodes. Nodes mean this, so not just 2 points, but every other point along that graph that it's developing to see what the relationships are. And then it's going to try to match your entity to other entities. And guess what? If you haven't done it correctly, if you've somehow created ambiguity, then what's going to happen is now Google thinks that there's two entities for that, and you did it.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, usually. If thinking that you were doing the right thing sometimes, but you went and you did it, and now the effort is 10 times.
10 times worse it was.
Or worse. To disambiguate than what you did to create the ambiguity in the first place. And just the phone number, just the wrong phone number in a citation can't be enough to get you off path, because now so this is the problem with math. Math is looking for logic. And so if you have a phone number, it has a value for that phone number for your entity. There's a value given to it. If it goes, so if this, then think if then else in coding, right? If it's the phone number that I've been given in that GMB, then everything is good. If it's a different phone number, oh shit, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Very simple. But we do this time and again because we have tracking numbers. I'm trying to work one through right now where the guy has 5 or 6 different tracking numbers, and I keep trying to tell him, I need that shit fixed. I need one constant phone number. You can't change the phone numbers on me. He has somebody that changes the GMB URL, the website URL.
Yep.
One, that's enough to create ambiguity because now Google doesn't know what the hell you're doing. So instead of sending it to the location page, send it to the home page. You just created ambiguity. The bot doesn't know, wait a minute, I'm expecting to find the location. What happened here? Why am I going to the home page? I don't understand. So now you bring that into the equation. You bring in another variable. Now Google has to work through that. And how does it understand then that, oh, I was just trying to send people to the home page instead of the location page? A math problem doesn't understand that. It's a math problem. It's looking for variables, it's filling in variables, and it's giving all of that a value. Please, anybody watching this, you have to understand that. No matter what they tell you about AI, no matter what they tell you about what Google understands, what Google knows, it's math. It's creating variables, and it's giving those variables weight. And at the end, it's creating, and there's a patent for it. Don't tell me I'm making it up. It's called the ranking score patent. And it's the ranking score algorithm. In fact, the PageRank algorithm was incorporated into the ranking score algorithm, and Google dropped the PageRank patent because it was incorporated into the ranking score algorithm. So think how important this is now when you're creating that overall value to have it constant and growing rather than constant, but you're inserting now a negative value into this where it lessens. So that phone number has a value. You insert another phone number, now you've split the values. Or you've given it another value that could be a negative value against what the phone number is supposed to be. Think about all of this. And I know for most people who haven't coded and who haven't worked with algorithms, it's kind of hard to conceive. But that's what you're doing. If you're not filling in the right variables, you're creating negative values and you're in trouble. Yep. So I get a lot of people coming and saying, well, Marco, your shit doesn't work. No, the way you apply my shit doesn't work.
Love it.
Because I'm showing you over and over again in the heavy hitter club that you mentioned.
Yep.
I go into what we're doing. I go into the analytics search console and the GMB insights and show it. It's not as if we're just giving people a screen grab, an image of what's going on. I do that in the free groups, of
live,
course.
And you show it, you know.
I show it live. This is what's happening. And this is when you do this, this is what happens. This is the positive love that you get. This is how you affect it. So yeah, you can come and tell me, yeah, your shit doesn't work. No, the way that you applied it doesn't work. And I guarantee you, if I go and look at it, which I've done often, I will find where you went and did your own thing and mixed and matched, where you brought in other training from other people and tried to make my shit work better. You can't get any better than number one. Once you're on top, you can't get any better than that. So bringing in somebody else's training on something where you're already making money is asking for trouble.
And y'all were the originator of it too, so.
We are the originators of RYS Academy Reloaded, local GMB Pro. We were the first ones out there with the training on how to manipulate GMBs and apply SEO.
Let's see. Without consistency, you weaken your pedigree and create a mongrel. Correct. He's in one of my classes, and that's one of the hardest things I tell people all the time. It's like, okay, citations. You better have a spreadsheet of all your fucking citations, username, password, data, what's the address, what's the phone number. Because a lot of people, I use Bright Local, and they do all that shit for me. Oh, really? Go right ahead. I guarantee you, I go into Bright Local, and there's going to be some data that's incorrect.
Yeah.
Even if you use Bright Local, you better make sure your data is correct.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I've had people be like, well, I used Yext, which I can't stand. And then once I stopped paying them, I left my contract. All my citations went away. And then my rankings dropped. You know, well, of course it's going to drop. But so your consistency, it's like, for me, SEO has always been just consistent small actions or consistently doing something over and over again. It's not some magic pill that I take and voila, you're number 1, 2, or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Well, sometimes you luck out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look out. You pick that niche at the right time and in the right place, and you see it number 3 or number 2 in the 3-pack, and you why? And you don't understand why.
I've had that happen a couple of times. It'd be like, I don't even ask me how it happened. I have people be like, they want the same results. I'm like, I don't even know how it happened. So, because I know how long it should take. I know the process it should have to go through, and it didn't have to do any of that.
Yep.
So, but let's see. Got to get another one here. Is there any ranking report website that includes the top 3 snack pack? I mean,
so you meaning a rank checker or a rank tracker?
Yeah, that's what I think they're meaning. That means
yeah. So, and I should have affiliate links for all of this. Nightwatch.io is what I think the most accurate.
Nightwatch. I've never even heard of that one. That's interesting.
It's pricey, so it can get expensive if you're enterprise. But if you guys want to play, as far as local, they're the shit. As far as all the others, I've noticed that they can be off by as many as 3 positions. And how we know is that I have someone whose client is really anal about local rankings, and he actually has people searching from around the city to make sure that he's 1 or 2 in the map pack. So you can you compare those to again, I'm not going to mention anybody else that I think negatively. But let's just mention Bright Local, for example. It can be off 1 or 2, which can mean a lot of money if you're number 4 instead of number 2, because you'll be telling the person you're number 2 and they're number 4, and they're not getting any calls.
Yeah.
So to me,
that's what I found with most. What I found with most of them is they are inconsistent. So at best, if you're going to use them, you have to wind up using 2 or 3 of them just to get a average. That's just an average, and then it could be wrong even. So
it can be wrong, like from around the corner. You can be standing on one side, go around the corner, and have totally different results, because nobody can copy the user at the time when they were served the results. But what I tell people is just forget all that shit and focus on producing results. What your local client wants is calls.
Yeah.
Or someone who visits the website and fills out a form, because we do have one where they get like 200 form fills a month.
Yeah.
But we can track them from the DMB to the website.
That's the biggest complaint I get. People hate fucking forms. They're like, I don't want forms being filled out. I want fucking phone calls. I'm like, well, get rid of the fucking forms.
Yeah. Don't have a form on your website. What the fuck's wrong with you?
It's like, I don't know what to tell someone.
But focus. If you make your SEO results based, then and make your pitch to a client results based, which means I'm going to get your results. What does that mean? I'm going to positively affect your bottom line. I'm going to make you money, and we're going to see it because I'm going to grow your bottom line. And if you can't do that, I don't care what report you get. I don't care what rankings you can show. I don't care about any of that. The client is going to go because they didn't get the results they were expecting, even though you didn't know that's what they were expecting. You better know how to set expectations.
Yeah, it's one of the first things you probably should almost ask is, how many phone calls are you wanting a month? And most of the time it's, I just want, you want to be in the top 3. You don't even talk about phone calls thing. I dropped the, if anybody interested, I did drop the nightwatch.io into the link here, and I'll definitely be looking at that because it's interesting. I like the homepage landing page. It looks cool as shit just to begin with. So their design caught me here. But yeah, most of them are interactive at their best, and that's why we'll even use multiple reports. But Nightwatch, and then. Do you believe the descriptions on citations, replicating them or respinning them? or should it be consistent? Because I've heard some guys say you should spin them and make them, different for each citation.
I like focusing on the entity. So what is I don't want to get too technical or too carried away with this. There's named entities for every niche or everything that you can think of. A named entity meaning that it's on Wikipedia, meaning that it has a page on Wikipedia. So Google takes that as the thing representing that in your niche. Okay. If you're not a named entity, then you're still in whatever it is that you have. It's an entity. It's simply not a named entity, and your goal should be to create a named entity somehow in Wikipedia. And the way I explain this is Joe the plumber doesn't have a chance of getting into Wikipedia. Larry the cable guy is in Wikipedia because he's an actor, he's a comedian, he's a singer, he's all of these things. So you have to give Wikipedia a reason to have a named entity. You can't get that, then the next thing to do is you're going to reference the named entity. And now what you're going to have is an entity with sub-entities and related entities and supporting entities. Main keyword, related keywords, supporting keywords. We change the nomenclature, treat it however you want. I always like to keep my descriptions focused on that entity and then give it related entities, and you can spin it all you want as long as you're giving the bot a consistent entity and supporting entities. So the rest of the language, Kyle Roof, and I love Kyle's testing, by the way. Kyle Roof showed this in his, I forget what it was, in Plano, Texas, where he went and ranked Lorem Ipsum text on a website for the keyword, showing just simply H1, H2, H3, the right mix of what we then call just keywords, supporting keywords, in the right amounts would rank. So the rest of the text doesn't matter. Think about this. It doesn't matter as long as you're keeping all this right. So understanding this and understanding that it's simply the entities, related entities, and supporting entities that matter, you can write in just about anything you want as long as it's relevant to the niche.
Yep.
And as long as it stays, consistent throughout. And really, what you're giving Google, think about this, is in your citations, it's coming to a new citation, and it already knows the entity, and it's getting it reinforced in that description, but it's getting new, it's getting different information. And how can that not work?
Interesting. Yes, results based 100%. Here's one for you. Do you believe, because I've heard, you hear everything, but can you guarantee, a lot of times you go to an SEO, you'll hear one or two things. If an SEO guarantees rankings run, and then you have other people say, no, you should be able to guarantee. In your case, would you be able to quote unquote guarantee? Because, after you've done it so long, you know how the process works. To me, I can guarantee exactly what will happen if you do step 1, 2, and 3. I know you'll be here. And a lot of people say, well, you can't guarantee because there's no guarantee in SEO.
All right. So I'm a big guy on ethics. And what is that ethical guarantee? If I guarantee you rankings, I'm being unethical because I don't control Google.
Yep.
I can't control Google. I can't control what Google does. Yep. I can manipulate Google into doing what I want. What I can guarantee. All right. So this is really interesting. Let me refocus and try to explain this. And I'm going to explain it like this. You have a 3-pack where everybody wants to be in that 3-pack. However, if you become the knowledge panel and knock out that 3-pack, so that now it's organic SERPs and the knowledge panel, and you guaranteed the 3-pack, you just ran into trouble. I'll guarantee you that you'll be 1, 2, or 3 in that 3-pack, and you managed to, which should be your goal. You managed to become the knowledge panel because now you're the entity for that niche. You're the authoritative, trusted source. you're going to get clicks from that, or you're going to get clicks from your post, your GMB post in that knowledge panel. Are you going to get calls? Are you going to get visits to the website, directions, whatever, however it is that they find you. What if you did such a great job of branding that they don't even go to the 3-pack? They just search for the brand, go straight to the website, fill out your form.
Yep.
There's so many things in here. What if I'm standing on one side of the building when I start my search, but I'm on the other side of the building, and now you're no longer in the 3-pack, and now there's something different there. There's so many variables in SEO that I don't think that anyone can guarantee. Now, what we're talking about is rankings, or absolutely, I'll get you in the 3-pack. I don't think you could do that. What I do guarantee is results, meaning phone calls. We know that requests for directions gets action on the website, and especially visits to the website now, because sometimes Google doesn't even display the click to call number. I'm seeing that in one particular niche where I used to get, I don't know, 400 or 500 calls a month for the client, but suddenly it went to about 150, but the visits to the website went way up. They went way up, and correspondingly then, the people who went to the website and clicked on the number, where we ended up at around more than 600 calls total. So we're getting more calls, but just not in the GMB
through
insights.
the GMB insights.
Really interesting, because those are even more focused. If people take the trouble to go to the website and then click there, it's because it's of greater interest to them, whatever it is that you're offering, and they're hot, and they are going to do whatever it is that you need them to do for your client to make money. So saying all that to say, I never guarantee rankings ever. I don't think personally that it's ethical for me to guarantee something that I cannot control.
Lee Rushton, is there software out there to do a GMB audit for you, or do you got to do it manually by yourself, by hand, manually?
I'm old school. I'm old school.
I'm the same way. I do it manually. I don't do any software to do it.
I have 6 monitors that I work from. I have a laptop. I have an Android and iOS. I have an Apple phone. I'm old school. I want to know what's going on when I search. IP, if you're doing local, make sure that you have an IP at the local address. And if you don't, hire someone locally. You can still, Craigslist is still really good for this, to go around, pay them a couple of days, $10 an hour, $15 an hour, whatever it costs, for them to go around, drive around in their car. The business will have the centroid will have a radius, go 10 miles out in any direction, and at steps along the way, give you their results, and make sure that they're using different phones when they're doing this. It's all part of proper research. How else can you know what's appearing to searches in the local area if you're not in the local area? I don't get that. So there's a lot of things that I do that other people just won't do. But then again, I charge a whole lot of money for what I do.
Charge more money, but you also get certain results too. So you want certain results, you're going to have to pay the piper. You can't go, hey, I want to be in the top 3, and hey, I want to pay you $199.
Yeah, $500 a month. That's going to get you a couple of posts per month. I'll find you someone that can give you a couple of posts a month for $500.
Yeah. WordPress, do you have an opinion as to which is a better plugin, Yoast or Rank Math?
Do I have an opinion? Do I have an opinion on Yoast, fucking bloated piece of garbage? Is that enough of an opinion? Rank Math I used, and it screwed up my schema to the point where I had to redo it. Again, I'm old school. I have a coding background. I code my own. So no Rank Math. What I use is, and just so you know, I am working on recoding Ultimate SEO. So the Ultimate SEO plugin, Jeffrey Smith's plugin, I'm working on coding that. We're almost finished with beta, putting it back out on the market. Wow, that's my preferred method.
Yeah. I remember when that first came out, that's what I used to use before Rank Math and Yoast and all that shit. So that'll be, if you're coming on board and y'all are redoing that, that'd be interesting. Because I've had similar situations where, for instance, we've done location pages, service pages, and I'm like, why is Google not picking up my pages? And I don't have any other issue with any other sites, but what's the common denominator? And I go and I said, let me uninstall Rank Math, and then boom, all the errors are gone, and then they start indexing immediately. And I was like, what in the hell happened? And it wasn't set to no index either. It wasn't set to no index, but somehow that fucking plugin messed it up. That's what I told him. Said, really, I don't like using either one of them anymore.
I don't like. Okay, so Rank Math. I don't like dropping names negatively. If I can speak positively about someone, I will, unless I've had a personal experience with this. I had a personal bad experience with Rank Math. I'm sorry, I don't recommend it. But that's just me. I know people have had negative experiences with Ultimate SEO Pro, especially with Divi and Elementor, which we fixed. We fixed the bugs with that. You're getting something that got coded from the ground up. Took us. We're going on the third month now with recoding it. And just so you know, and just to be totally transparent, I was involved in redoing that, but I'm not pushing it simply because I'm the one now involved in recoding it. I use it in all.
You used it, and
I use
that
it,
experience,
and I was using it before I got involved in it. It's just a fantastic plugin. I like how it works. I like how I'm able to insert code. I like how I'm able to work at the post and page level to insert, because you need to do that now. So you have a post. Tell Google that's an article. Tell Google what that article is about. If it has video, tell it what that video is about. If it has an image, tell it what that image is about. And you're controlling it. You're controlling everything that you're giving Google through the plugin.
Let's see here. Go ahead. He didn't. Okay. What steps do you take before setting up a new GMB for a brand new business or lead generation property?
Oh, I'm not sure. I get that. Do your market research.
So for one, a lot of people. I'll give you an example because I work with the rank and rent people. They'll go, should I create the GMB first before creating citations? Citations? Because what happened a lot of times, especially with rank and rent, is they are trying to get I don't want to say illegitimate address, but they're trying to get an address in an area in which they're really not located. So one of the things I usually advise people is to set up citations before trying to get a GMB, because I'm trying to put some data points out there. So when I do go to try to get a GMB from Google, Google goes, oh, this person is legitimate, versus not seeing anything out there, and then me trying to create a GMB, and then it sits impending forever on day's end.
All right. So let me ask you this. Are you hacking in the GMB?
No, we're getting postcards.
You are getting postcards. So if you can get the postcard, then yes, you can build citations because you know where it's going to be.
Yeah.
But if you're planning on hacking that in,
backdoor, yeah. That's the kind of same thing I tell everybody. We got Mindsaw in the house now. Hey, Will and Marco. Hey, Brett. Just had him on the other day. What about SEO Press Plus?
Don't know enough about it to say anything.
Won't talk about stuff you don't know about. I have, and that's interesting that you're on that, because that's how, whenever I first started using plugins, I used the SEO Ultimate plugin, and I stopped because everybody wanted to use Yoast, so we started using Yoast, and then I got away from Yoast and was using Rank Math. Now everybody's like, well, it's either Rank Math or Yoast. And a lot of times I'll tell them, say, I won't even use either at this point because I'm like, Yoast or Rank Math to me is really built for people that, in my opinion, it's supposed to make SEO easier. It's supposed to make SEO where if you really, I don't want to say it the wrong way, but if you really don't know SEO, it guides you and tells you, for instance, like Yoast or Rank Math, hey, you don't have the keyword in your header. Hey, you don't have it in a paragraph. Hey, you don't have it in this. But that's really, if you know SEO, you shouldn't have to have either one of them.
But it also misleads people into thinking that that's all you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And no, that if you get a certain score, that you're going to be good. So when you do get that score and nothing happens, you're like, okay, what did I do wrong?
I have to have them all in green, and there's some of them are in orange.
Or
I'm
red.
Not gonna get ranked.
So listen. If you have time to play, what I can get you, since we're in beta still, is a 5-site license with a key so that you can install it. It's still in beta, so bugs might still pop up.
Yeah.
All right. So let me give you a test version of the plugin. I'll give you a license for 5 websites. You try it out. Look at how it is, because it even has schema. We do tags, we do WordPress tags. We do some fantastic things. As a matter of fact, I got to get you the training for how we use tags in WordPress, so I could do that and manipulate just the crap out of Google locally through tags. All right. Yeah. I'm not gonna say anymore. Send me an email after this, man, and remind me to get you a license, and I'll send it to you. I'll send you the plugin, and you can take a look.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Let's see, and then we got GMB. Or mine also says same thing. Set up citation before setting up a GMB. Yeah.
Well, if you set them up before, you're laying down the groundwork for trust and authority. Not the trust and authority that other people talk about. I'm talking about Google, how Google measures trusted and authoritative sources.
Data points,
one of those. Yeah.
Data points. You're connecting nodes like you're talking about. I've never said it that way. I just say you're putting data out. It's like, okay, if in the States, if I went for credit, I want a credit card. One of the biggest frustrations, same thing in work, they go, well, we'd like to give you credit, Mr. Jones, but you have no credit.
You have no credit.
What the fuck? It's like, I want a job as a front end coordinator. And you go there and they're like, well, we like you, but we can't give you a job as a front end coordinator because you have no experience.
Right.
It's the thing is, we're trying to put data points out there. You
have no credit. Go establish your credit.
Bingo.
So that we can give you credit.
That's why I always say do citations first, and people think I'm weird because I say do citations first. I'm like, everybody I've heard so far that I believe and I actually listen to, is usually going to say, even Mansell yourself will say do citations first. But Rank and Rent, sometimes they don't got the address, so they're like, you can't do it. I'm like, you can still get away with it sometimes.
Now, here's the problem. If you get that GMB and then you have to change any of the data points in the GMB and you have pre-made your citations, you got to go clean all that shit up.
That's how I'm keep them all in a nice little Excel spreadsheet. I love Google Excel in documents and Excel sheets. So
and have a VA that's trained in going to clean them up. So by all means, hire one of the services to go get it cleaned up, but then have a VA that will go and follow up on whatever they were supposed to do, so that you can then have a list for these people to say, well, you didn't clean this one and this one. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And they have to go and redo it correctly.
And mistakes do happen. Trust me. I mean, they definitely happen. Do citations without an address. Well, I think we just covered that, but
some of them won't accept anything without an address.
Would you create Web 20 properties before the GMB listing as well?
No. We don't. We don't, because we like to reference the GMB when we're setting up.
When you're doing doing Web 20 on top of it, you're going to probably do an iframe stack inside of the Web 20 or map embed. And if you don't have that done, you can't do that, and you're really wasting your time. Even in Web 20s, we do the same thing. You have to have.
Yeah, I like to reference that map.
We always want to reference our map and our NAP and everything else. So,
Yep.
thanks, Marco. And then George asking, how much trust flow does DeMarc and Bimmy give you, or email warm up tools?
Trust flow. Are we talking about Majestic trust flow?
Don't know. Are you talking about Majestic trust flow, George, or what?
Because it's a third party metric that I never pay attention to.
Yeah, it's
so
one of the things I tell people all the time. For like DA, all that stuff is very easily manipulated too. So I could take someone, for example, you have a DA of 10 and give you a DA of 40.
One link.
You know, so, and it doesn't mean shit. So,
But it used to. We used to manipulate the hell out of it through subdomains, and we could pump it up to 50, 60. Yeah. Where at that point Google starts paying attention because you're pumping up actually PageRank. Yeah. Or what used to be PageRank, which is now your ranking score. No, it's still PageRank. So PageRank is the doorway still to your ranking score. PageRank is incorporated in the ranking score algorithm, and so that's what you're actually pumping up now, your ranking score. So all of these that are being measured cannot measure PageRank and ranking score, but that's actually what you're manipulating, and it does have an effect. For example, you get a link from what used to be a PageRank 8 or 9 website, 7 even, and you see immediate results, especially if it's relevant. So if you can pump up a website to that point, it has a great effect, except that when Google comes looking at why you're suddenly pumped up to I don't know, domain authority 70, 80, I got de-indexed when I was doing that. And I did it a couple of times, and then the effort that it takes just isn't worth it when Google comes calling and they just de-index you.
Yeah. And you know, so I have someone asking, oh, let's see real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to give him here we go. Yep. Let me send this over to him real quick. But yeah, I mean, deal with that a lot. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So I'm not reading that. So Bimmy's a brand indicator.
So another third-party metric?
It's another third-party metric. Why? Email marketer. So you're talking about specifically email marketing. Send it to me later, George, and I'll look at it. I'm not going to look at it on the show, but I'll look at it. I'm always interested in new stuff, and I'll tell you what I think afterwards. So, but yeah, I mean, guys, keep dropping your questions because we're about to end up here. We've been on here for an hour. Do you use schema on your branded Web 20s?
On Web 2.0s, anywhere where we can control the code, yep. Yeah, by all means. And then if not, let me drop you some knowledge. If you can control iframe, so if you can drop an iframe in there, you can iframe schema on there that Google will read and will relate to whatever Web 2.0 it is where your iframe. Iframes got, so from the beginning, the original concept of RYS Academy and RYS Academy Reloaded was iframes and iframe stacking. We went in there to see how well we could manipulate Google into giving us love, and then understanding how iframes would exponentiate that power because of the way that Google references iframes and what the PageRank and ranking score algorithms do through the iframes. This is the original concept that we worked with, and understanding this, anywhere where you can get an iframe of your business map, of your website, of anything related to it, especially if it has well-written schema, advanced schema, so that Google can go and read it. Dude, we ranked a website with an iframe. So listen to this, with an iframe ahead of the website that we used in the iframe, with nothing but the iframe, where Google was reading the meta description, the meta title, everything related to the other website in the iframe, and we ranked ahead of them for the keyword. They came in and slapped us. They said, no, you can't do that. You can't rank ahead. It was an affiliate. And you can't rank ahead of us. It's in our terms of service that you can't rank ahead of us. And they killed it. But why am I telling you that? You guys are missing out if you're not taking advantage of the power of iframes and iframe stacks, especially iframe stacks. I mean, if you guys want to know the training, there's tons of free training that I've done over the years, and we're talking about now nearly 7 years where I've been doing this. So it's not something new. It's not something that just started on the web. I've been using iframes since 2004 to rank. Just tons of power in them. There's a reason why something with a YouTube video or a website with a YouTube video ranks so well. And it's not because you're adding a YouTube video. It's the way that Google sees that iframe, and it's the way that you manipulate that iframe into working for you. Power of iframes. People miss that so much.
Stacks. Yep.
Iframe stacks. So stacking the iframe one on the other. And then when you build the links through those, you're creating exponential power through the iframes because of the way they bounce back. Because the way that the algorithm works is when Google is measuring nodes, it doesn't only measure node against node. It measures everything that's attached to one node and everything that's attached to the other node, because we have to remember it's a graphic database that's trying to relate everything in those two nodes and everything connected to those nodes so that it can create a proper overall graph of what those two nodes represent and what they're all about. It's ridiculous what happens through iframe. And if they're stacked now, you're getting Google bouncing back and forth through those iframes, creating exponential power throughout.
So Nico, he pretty much just answered that one for you. He has a 20,000 character limit on Webflow, which I cannot stand working with, but is there a way to dynamically insert advanced schema with iframe or any other method? Which I'm pretty sure you kind of just covered that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can go off of that.
Let's see here. And then we got, okay. Have you had success sharing shared office space locations? No, absolutely not. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times the same thing with a lot of these, if you will, big data proxy providers. Once they get blacklisted, they are pretty much, you go to use them and you go to try to use Regus or any of these big name ones, they're going to get blacklisted and know exactly what you're doing. I have had, that being said, I have had success with no name office space locations where they're not well known or whatever. They're just some small little shop. So
locally, you'll find people that are renting out office space because somebody shut down because of the coronavirus. And I don't care what you think of coronavirus. I don't care what your opinion is. They shut down, period. So you have a lot of space that's available where you go in and you make an offer for that office space, and they'll rent it to you. And that's all you need to get that pin. Because what we're looking at is getting that pin. I mean, that's the most difficult part. Once you have that pin, you have your citations in place. Now you created the trust and authority you need for Google not to come and suspend you.
Yeah. See some more. Check hardware. Yoast.
Bloast. Hey, Brian, what's up?
So as you call it, bloast. Corey Peddlers, what I thought. Thanks, Will. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. It's been over an hour, and I appreciate the time, Marco, and everything. You can see if we got any more questions coming before we get off here, but yeah. How much does, if you will, the Heavy Hitter Club, just to be able to get in there and, if you will, be a part of that, if you will, mastermind or whatever cost?
I am the worst marketer in the world. So I'm not an online marketer.
Yeah.
I don't. If you guys know me, I'm not usually out here. I don't usually do this. I'm not usually out there like pushing my name and trying to make a name of myself. I don't like doing that. It's not my thing. So I don't even know the price of our Heavy Hitter Club. I just know that I go in there every 2 weeks and
you talk
and I show people how to rank.
Yeah.
I don't just teach it.
I'll take a look at it.
So I know we have a free level, so you can just start right there at the free level. And if you think that information is good, I guarantee you'll want to pay for what's on the inside. We give away a lot of free stuff. You can also go to the SEO Shield, one word.com, the SEO Shield.com. That's free training. And at the end of it, of course, you'll get upsells and all of these other things to try to get you to buy our stuff, which works, by the way. So yeah, you'll get that, but you don't have to opt into anything except give us your email address so that we can send you the marketing part of this.
Free stuff,
of course, it's free stuff for your email. That's all it is. So it's perfectly free, and then you can just opt out. If you think, well, the stuff isn't worth it, I don't understand.
I get your free stuff already, and to me, it's worth it. I'm like, I'll see stuff like right now you're doing. I think it's PR press release stacking, some course or something, and I'll get information. I just like seeing what other people are. To me, emails almost show me what is, if you will, semantic masteries. What are they thinking about? What's their mindset on right now? Or different people in that space. Let's see here. I appreciate you coming on. Yeah, I was actually shocked. I was like, when I think I reached out to you and you responded. I was like, interesting, because I just never. Some people respond, some people don't. Some people I expect to respond. Some people I was like, wow, they responded. I was like, I never see you post that often. You're not out there like. There's some people. It's like if they actually respond, it's like, okay, this is.
I like to stay underground. I like to do my thing, which is when you're trying to grow a group like the Heavy Hitter Club, is that really the right way? I understand I have to be out there, and I do post like from my page and in Facebook. I like posting results. I like posting images for people to get, but more as a motivational tool. Like, if this is available right now, what the fuck are you doing where you're just sitting there and doing nothing except looking through Facebook?
Yeah.
Go do something. And whatever you guys do, listen, I'm going to give you some advice before I go. Whatever you guys do, take it, whether it's William, whether it's somebody else's training, whether you go to Semantic Mastery, whether you go to the Heavy Hitter Club, even if you just go to our Hump Day Hangouts, which is every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, where we go and answer questions for free. I mean, we give you that. We start you off for free every step of the way. Whatever it is that you do, follow it through to the end. So if you take Bill's training, don't quit halfway and say this shit doesn't work. You don't fucking work.
Yeah.
Your mindset, what's going on here doesn't work, and it all starts here. Go and do the do. It's what I call it. It may sound simple, but doing the do means you take it and you see it all the way through to the end so that you now know whether it works. You can't say it doesn't work halfway when you're starting almost to the end. You can't say that shit. So stop that fucking shit. Stop whining if you're not making money. Go invest some money in your education. It'll pay back. There's hardly anything right now that gives you more return on your investment than SEO marketing, being online and making money. See it through to the end. See it through to the end. Do yourself a favor and see it through to the end. Because if you set yourself up for failure, that's all you're going to do. And what I tell people is when they get stuck, when you get stuck in the middle, all you get is a big fat fuck you.
Yeah, it's true. Don't be a flat squirrel. Basically,
roadkill.
That's what most people are. Is that I'm not going to tell them anything for the most part. Tell them, you know what the biggest secret is? I'm not going to tell you anything different. I'm going to tell you what you're fucking not doing.
Yeah,
and that you need to do and get off your lazy ass and start doing. Because most people don't want to do it. It's like you're talking about you don't really do backlinks. And I tell people, it's like, really? You don't have to do backlinks. If you do, if you will, good content, good information, put it out there. I said people are naturally going to want a backlink to you, per se. So, but
I do the hook smash.
Yeah,
I'm old fashioned, guys. I'm old school SEO. Blunt. What do they call it? That Rocky quote. Good old fashioned blunt force trauma.
Blunt force trauma works.
It still works, man.
All right, man. I appreciate having you on, and I'm going to go ahead and take off here, and we'll talk some more later. And I will send you an email in regards to that plugin and everything. And you have
I'll
a
get it
great
for
day
you.
over there out in Costa Rica.
You too, man.
Enjoy
Have a good
yourself,
night. I
brother.
know it's early morning. Take care, man.
Yeah, it's early. You take care. See
All
y'all
right.
later. Bye.
Bye.